Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about Disclosure Day. I saw the movie yesterday. So this is my follow-up reading just after watching the movie. I'd done a reading last week just prior to watching it to see what would come up. It has sparked some questions for me. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I am going to talk about a couple of things that did trigger me in the movie. I'm also going to raise some questions around why and why now. So is it trying to get people to open their eyes about memories that they've had around encounters? Is it trying to source out the people that have had encounters because they're talking about it, and I'm seeing a lot more people talk about it? Is it meant to activate people that have had the encounters so they start remembering and disclose in that way? Is it that maybe the government was told that they had a certain time period to disclose information, and because they're not going to disclose everything, they bring in the Hollywood big guns to disclose? Where it could be, yes, we've disclosed as we were supposed to, but it can be brushed off to the public, oh, this is just a movie. So it did raise a couple of questions for me, and one thing I have noticed is, and I am going to get to the reading and ask all of those questions on the cards today using my full disclosure deck, which I've had for a little while now. It was prior to this movie. It was actually around the time of the Orbs, the New Jersey Orbs is when I made this deck up. I'll be using my Uranus Awakener Eyes Open deck and my Neptune Moon deck as well. So what I have noticed is that I'm working on a collective deck at the moment. So I'm reading through a lot of stories that people have had, experiences that they've had, and I'm putting all of those experiences into a deck, which is going to be very powerful with lots of people's energies in it for all the things they've experienced in 2026. And I've been a little surprised about how many people are including UFOs or encounters in their stories. I didn't ask for UFO stories. I wasn't even talking about the UFO stuff, but people have been giving me their stories as part of their energy that's going into the cards, and I thought that was a little bit interesting. Another thing that happened to me last week, 2 days prior to watching the movie, I had a very strange dream. I was in the dream, I thought it might have been a past life, looking at some skill that I had in a past life where I was using animals to predict the next season coming up. So because I was in the dream, and how we have dreams and we're in it, it feels very real to us. The dream images that I was getting from that dream was very different. I was seeing visions. So in the dream, I was actually looking up like I do when I get visions, and I could see images appearing. I see it through my mind's eye, but it was exactly the same kind of way that you see an image. It just kind of appears through the astral. So I saw an animal's head and I saw snow, and then I started rattling off some story about predictions or something in the dream, the way that I normally read, how I storytell within my readings. So I was doing that, and when I woke up, I thought, oh, maybe I had a past life where I used to forecast what was coming up for the next season. That's what I thought. But then when I watched the movie, there was a scene where animals representing the ETs were walking through the snow, and it really focused in on their face, so like the vision did for me in that dream 2 days ago. So that was like, wow, that's what I saw. I was having a premonition of the movie that I was about to watch. The other part that triggered me was a scene where the male actor goes back to watch their encounters that they had as children, and he's watching the female child walk towards them or go with them, and he's screaming, don't go with them. And that triggered me because I have something very similar to that happened to me. And that, in fact, was my very last dream that I ever had, was because I was always very lucid in my dreams, could remember everything. And it was almost like I was allowed to see and allowed to remember, until that one when I started screaming at the people going through, because I was watching them being taken into another room, and I was screaming at them, wake up, they're about to do something to you. So, and that really triggered me. But I'm not going to go too much into my experiences, because I want to know if it is a way of trying to get people to talk about their experiences, to see what they've learned or see what's happened to them, or find out how many people actually did have experiences or encounters. So until I know from the cards or my higher self that it's safe to talk about it, I won't actually talk about things I've seen. And that's just my personal opinion. So let's get into the cards and let's ask some of those questions that I had around this movie. Let's start with this deck, and we're going to be starting with, is this to get people to disclose their story? Now, for good or for bad? What do the cards reveal about the movie, and if it's trying to get people to disclose their experiences or to start talking about their experience, or to be triggered? So first of all, it's saying it is having an effect. It is causing people to start talking about the subject again. The cards from the disclosure deck say here to help, here to help. It's to help us release words unsaid. We've got the telepathic communication. And in fact, that's how they talk. So when they communicate, it is through telepathic communication. Maybe there was something in the movie that has some kind of telepathic communication embedded within the movie, especially since they had all of those, they had alien talk. So who would know what they're capable of planting in movies? I'm always a little just skeptical about the purposes behind things, and I want to just trust that I am safe before, or that I'm being told the truth. So that's my purpose of reading, is I want to know what we're not being told. So it also says mothercraft, helping people to disclose what was said to them on mothercrafts. It's to help them with that. It's the part of this movie is like a disclosure to help people talk about what happened, what unfolded. How about this for a story? It's to help people talk about words that were told to them, what unfolded on a mothercraft. It's to help or cause them to talk about that. So yes, it is worldwide. It's not just the US, it's worldwide. This one was this deck is from a different deck. It says war, one side 45 and 46, but I'm going to leave that to the side. Interesting, because 45 is US president, I believe. In the answer to that is, I would say, have some caution around it, especially how much you do reveal, because it feels like that may be used as a weapon. So we have weaponizing, we have craft, something big is coming, and then we have your thoughts may be used to weaponize something against you. So just be cautious about what it is that you are sharing. Quiet pause. Silence in truth. Now, when I saw that card come out as the number one card, I thought silence. So silence. And that kind of gave me vibes of trying to get into people's thoughts or trigger people's thoughts, because maybe a lot of things have been forgotten. So part of this is navigating your journeys people have had, getting them to either reactivate or trigger them to remembrance. There's no remembrance card on the table, but I'm feeling it's something about getting the thoughts out. So things that have been said without words, thoughts that have happened being brought to the surface around things. And then we see the silence, the truth unfolds. So interesting. So what surprises me is the number of people that have had encounters. I mean, these are things generally, and this is where this card's coming in for me again as well. For decades, people have been silent. People won't talk about their experiences. I mean, there is definitely the channels out there that communicate with the Galactic Federation. They talk about their experiences, their journeys. They channel different entities, and they do that quite publicly and quite open. But for the most people, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about those weird dreams. They don't talk about the experiences that they've had physical ones. They've lived in quiet. They've lived in silence. They've kept it to themselves. Interesting. So their journeys that they've had, they thought they had alone. And what I am very surprised about is how big this is. And because of the stories that I'm reading for this new deck that I'm creating, the number of people that are talking about it unprompted, talking about their ET experiences or their encounter experiences or their strange dreams, weird dreams. So, I mean, feel free to let me know in the comments if that's you, if you have had those weird dreams, if you've had experiences, have you sighted your UFO? And I've seen a UFO. I saw it with my daughter, and it hovered in my backyard for about 45 minutes. And somebody else did report it to the news. Somebody else saw it, captured it, and then they were getting interviewed and all kinds of things. And I didn't want that kind of exposure. Like, I didn't want to, that wasn't for me. I had no intention of going on TV and talking about anything like that. But interesting. So I think that people have been in silence. This stuff has unfolded for many, many people, quite big. And people have lived in silence. They've kept it to themselves. They've kept it as something they've pushed down or kept it in their thoughts. And now I feel there's a navigating direction part of this journey. So we're navigating new waters here. And maybe it's in a way that people can feel like they're not alone. People can feel like these weird dreams, and I'm a person that believes in the astral. I believe in other dimensions and other realms, so I do think that it's quite powerful, and especially when you go to places in dreams, and these dreams, when you have them, they are so realistic. But interesting. So that question was, just so I remember, is it safe? Is it safe? Well, we just have to be careful that it doesn't get weaponized. That's the only thing. Reveal any kind of information that doesn't get weaponized. But many people have had the experiences that's in their minds and they've kept silent about. So we're now navigating the journey, understanding that many people have these visions, these dreams, these experiences, these entities, UFOs, all kind of things, and it's all starting to become such a big topic. People are being more open to talk about these. Who wants this talked about? Who wants it talked about? Is it the government, or is it the higher ups that want to know who's had experiences or what kind of experience? Or is it the ETs that want people to talk about it? That's my question. So tell me please, who wants this who wants people to reveal the information? Where's it coming from? The disclosure, we'll call it disclosure for what it is. Who wants the disclosure? Okay, so the answers are coming mostly from the disclosure deck here for this question, for the type of question that it is. Take a look at this card over here. It's the one on the top of the deck. It says government, which to me means the higher ups, the private sector above. I saw private sector above the government, or I don't know if it's above the government, it's connected some way to the government. So they want the disclosure. There is a money element there, because actually that same card. No, that's for. Okay, now we've got number 47. See, what's strange here is that this card here is not meant to be in this deck. These cards are double-sided, both black. So this one comes from a different deck. This is 47. The other one that came out was 45. Interesting. Okay, so who wants it? I'm seeing maybe government. Maybe government is the answer. Private sector though, adjacent to the private sector, private to the government. Okay, government hiding the truth. Government hiding the truth. Heed the warning. Heed the warning. The last spread I got a caution. I got a bit of a caution about how much information you tell. Now I'm thinking I shouldn't put this video up. Hiding the truth. Truth needed to neutralize the enemy. So truth needed to neutralize the the enemy. Okay. My question was, who wants people to disclose the information? Government officials or the ETs? I'm not seeing ETs anywhere here. This is an ET deck. There's plenty of alien cards in here. I'm not seeing any alien cards on the table for this question. This is more government sector, adjacent private sector, Hollywood. Bring in the big guns of Hollywood to get people to talk about the topic. Now, is that good or bad? Is it good or bad that we're talking about the topic? Now, I'm not sure which card's going to answer that. Which deck will answer that? Is it... Oh, there was a UFO. Mass panic. Leaders are briefed. Leaders are briefed about UFO causing mass panic. But I guess if we've had people talking about it, there won't be so much mass panic. If it's being it's not even drip fed, it's quite heavily, and getting people to talk about things, people won't be so panicked if we start seeing things in our skies more visible. Leaders have been briefed. UFO. Worried about mass panic. So that would be a reason, as far as good or bad, because I didn't know how good or bad was going to come out of this card, but that they're just showing me a reason why the government would have to disclose in that way. Okay, anything that we need to know about this movie? Is it safe to watch this movie if you haven't watched it already? This is kind of what I was looking at before I watched the movie. Okay, so we have electronic warfare, superior technology, and disabling weapons, or some kind of disabling weapons. But electronic warfare to me does sound like movies. 6, superior technology used. Government knows. Superior technology used within in the movie. That's what I thought. The card that came out about the telepathic communication. Finally, let's just pull from the Neptune moon and see what story they want to reveal about maybe any incoming UFO sightings, or what's coming. What is coming? Actually, I'm going to pull from the other deck for that too. Let's see what the cards want to reveal here. And I'm going to tell you what's on the back of these cards, because that's kind of interesting and a little scary. What bothers me here is the Draconian Deception card. That's the Draconian energy. But I feel like what's coming is something we're going to be revealed of different, maybe a different kind of alien, as in we've been told about some ETs and they push certain agendas. They talk a lot about the Greys. They talk a lot about the Nordics. I wonder if they're going to start talking about other types of, making it more prominent about different types of species. Many different species, maybe. Little concerned about what's happening with the Malefic card, the Draconian Deception card. Windows to the soul, purpose and truth. Truth coming out around other species, different species. So ones that they don't really focus on, because I think that would scare people, mass panic. So I think they've been truth, hiding truth, or keeping truth to themselves. Return to roots is a returning of other species that have been here before. That's what I'll say about that one there. Let me show you what's on the back. So we've got some reverse engineering here. On the back it says anti-gravity. Different species is saying evacuating. Evacuating. People evacuating. And I wouldn't say that would be mainstream people, regular people. Enemy. Okay. Abductions. Abductions. Okay, that's giving me the vibes of the psychic that says that They're coming in to abduct a whole bunch of people from like a soccer game or a football game. Evacuating abductions. Little concerned because it's sitting there with the Draconian card. Dracos. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you like this topic? I like to cover all woo-woo stuff. I love all the woo-woo topics. I love the conspiracy topics, and I love everything a little bit weird and wacky. Let me know your experiences or your thoughts, and let me know if you've seen the movie and what if that triggered you in some way. Thank you so much for watching.